Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis here once again to break things down for you. Before I get into things, there is sort of a light over here, right over here. It's sort of flickering, so just to give you a heads up, if you see it starts, it's actually out right now, so it might come back on. I'm not sure. I just want to let you know it might start flickering, so the lighting's sort of off. It's also harder to do this podcast at night. I feel like have issues with the lighting, but this is what you get for now. So anyway, doors open back here. Let me go close it real quick. All right. Anyway, Astros baseball. So finally get a full week of baseball. Things still going on with the coronavirus. The Marlins had their big outbreak, which I mentioned last week. By the way, it is Monday, August 3rd, 11:04 p.m. But talked last week about the Marlins outbreak. Now the Cardinals have it, not to the extent of the Marlins, but they have about 6 or so people. I believe it's like a few players, a few coaches. Marlins had like 18 people that had it, so obviously it's affecting some teams. Marlins had all their games the entire this past week canceled. In fact, I have no idea when they're going to start playing baseball, and the Cardinals now have a bunch of games that are, well, their games were not canceled, they were postponed. And then the Cardinals now have also a bunch of postponements as well, so we'll see sort of what comes of that. But anyway, the Astros went 3-4. I talked last week about them going 4-3, hopefully splitting against the Dodgers and then taking 2 of 3 in LA. They did take 2 of 3 in LA against the Angels, but they did not. They lost both games to the Dodgers. I suspected that they were going to lose the first one with Framber Valdez on the mound. I was just hoping for sort of a competitive game in some way, shape, or form. Game actually didn't play out any way I thought. I thought, that Valdez would run into trouble right away. We'd be down early, and the only chance we had at winning is if the offense really came out, and I didn't expect it to against Walker Buehler. So anyway, as the light flickers. But anyway, Valdez was actually good. Got through the first 3-4 innings, and there was no trouble really. It was just 1-2-3, 1-2-3. I don't know exactly what he had, but there were no like situations where he was into trouble and had to work out of it. So he's pretty good. But Buehler, we actually got out to the lead. I know Correa hit a home run. We were up 2-0. I want to say one was a sac fly. So let me pull up my phone here because my phone will really tell me. Yeah, we got our 2 runs here. So give me just a second to pull this app up and see where we're at here. So Tuesday's game, yes, on the 28th. So we scored 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth. Those runs were scored on a Carlos Correa home run and a RBI single by Carlos Correa. Only one who actually showed up to hit that day was Carlos Correa because nobody else could get anything going. And then in the 5th inning, top half of the 5th, Valdez comes in and then he loads the bases, and then Dusty Baker takes him out, which I really didn't have an issue with because I didn't see things getting much better. But he brought in Enoli Paredes, who allowed all those runs to score, plus one of his own, or two of his own. And there were some fireworks in this game. Not big fireworks, but fireworks in the sense that Joe Kelly decided to throw. We sort of expected this, I guess, at some point, but decided to throw at Alex Bregman, as blatant as could be. 3-0 count, threw behind over his head. Bregman didn't even react. He just sort of, tossed the bat. It was ball 4 anyway, went to first base. Nothing really. the big feud is really between Bellinger and Correa. So, yeah, Correa gets up, and Joe Kelly's a wild pitcher to begin with, like as in he can't control his pitches. So I mean, but Correa comes up and he throws one at Correa's head. It didn't look intentional because it was a curveball, but it went right over his head. Yeah, Correa hit the deck, and then Joe Kelly ended up striking him out. And there was some back and forth. Kelly walking off the mound, saying some choice words. Correa responding. Um, Kelly was walking back to his dugout, and all the Astros came out and sort of. There wasn't a whole lot going on, but Kelly got suspended 8 games. Dave Roberts a game, so we didn't. Dusty Baker, I think, got fined for letting his players come out of the dugout, but that was really all there was to it. The Astros didn't retaliate the following game. This was actually after the Dodgers scored their 5 runs, though. It was really just a continue, like it was a keep the line, pass the baton type thing. I mean, they were. I know they walked in a run here. And let's get the phone back here. So Correa, accounted for both our runs, and they had the 5-run 5th inning there, which was, let's see here. So it was a bases loaded walk, Mookie Betts, walk, RBI. There was a fielder's choice where Max Muncy hit one to Bregman. Bregman came home. There was an error charged to Bregman, but really it was Martin Maldonado's fault. I mean, the ball came in on a one-hopper, but Maldonado had it in his glove. He just couldn't hang on to it. Scored a run. Justin Turner, RBI single. Bellinger, RBI single. And they were just going station to station at this point with the bases loaded. Chris Taylor, RBI walk. So things got really bad there for, Valdez, Paredes, and then Andre Scrub finally came in. That was all the scoring. And the Astros really couldn't get anything going the entire rest of the game. So, I mean, there was just no threat of them even coming back, it seemed like. So, losing that one, which I sort of expected, hoping to get the next one. Christian Javier did get the start, was very good, very, very good. He went 5 2/3, I want to say, as I'll pull this box score up here. He struck out 8, walked 1, gave up 1 hit, which was a homer to Corey Seager. So we were down 1-0 early, but Javier was great, as good as you could have hoped. Anybody could have been to fill in for Verlander, obviously. Talked about that injury and how he's out for probably a substantial amount of time. We'll wait and see, as my phone now doesn't want to load. But we did tie it. I do know that. Miles Straw had an infield single that tied that game at 1, and it stayed that way for a very long time. In fact, we got to extra innings. Played our first extra inning game with the new rule. Start with the runner at second. Kind of curious how they would play this. My philosophy with this extra inning rule, I think if you're the home team and the visiting team doesn't score in their half of the inning and all you need is 1 run, I would bunt. I know that's not a popular decision with some people. Some people agree. But I miss how baseball used to work. Get them on, get them over, get them in. And they already do the first part for you by allowing the runner to start at second base with no outs. And I would rather bunt him to third. Obviously easier said than done. Depends on where you're at in the order. If you're a Major League Baseball player, you should be able to bunt. So I would, do that. Obviously then you can almost expect the pitcher to walk the next guy, set up a double play. I would like my chances with first and third and 1 out rather than a runner on second with nobody out. When you have chances to score runs by making outs, sac flies, RBI groundouts, whatever it might be, I like those chances more. But again, that's just my thinking if you're the home team in this sort of situation. So I would bunt if the visiting team doesn't score. All I need is 1 run. So yeah, I would do that. But the Astros refused to do that time and time again. I was curious to see how Dusty Baker would actually, how he wanted to play this. Most teams don't do it. So, but they had their opportunities in this game, and they just couldn't score. With 13 innings, and finally the Dodgers broke through, hit a 2-run home run here in the top half of the 13th, and when that happened, I pretty much knew our chances of winning that game were over. As my phone still doesn't want to work, just going off what I know. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. It wasn't one of their all-star guys. We actually did score runs. It was 1-1. We both scored like in the 11th, I believe. There was a Mookie Betts, I believe, RBI double. This is when Cy Snead was in the game, by the way. As Dusty Baker used his top relievers out of the bullpen from Javier to, where'd he go? Like Blake Taylor came in, I know. Osuna came in, and then Snead. Usually, those are the three guys that I think he has the most faith in, which I would agree with. Can't really pull up. I'm just going to have to go off what I know. So, but they lose both to the Dodgers, which was tough. I was hoping to just get one of those and then go take our first road trip and try to win the first series out there in Los Angeles with the Angels. So they did that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday was, a game where we scored a ton of runs, didn't pitch necessarily well, but we won the game 9-6. I know Kyle Tucker had 4 RBIs. I still think he has major work to do fixing his swing. It's got way too long of a loop to it. I don't think it will translate well. It's yet to be seen. Hasn't been terrible. Hasn't been great as a major leaguer, that is. But we'll wait and see with Kyle Tucker. And scored 4 runs there. Some tack-on runs here and there. I'm trying to remember exactly what RBIs. I know Tucker had 4 of them. He sort of had the big day. At this point, Lance McCullers wasn't very good. Gave up 4 runs. He got through like 5 or so innings, and then this would be a lot easier if I had my phone right in front of me. See if I can. We'll try one more time to pull this up. Here we go. So, yeah, let's see. So our scoring, Kyle Tucker hit a 2-run double. George Springer, RBI, bases loaded walk. Altuve, RBI ground out. McCullers was good the first few innings and then ran into trouble. I know Rendon had an RBI single. The Astros had a sac fly by George Springer. But then, McCullers really ran into trouble in the 4th, giving up an RBI double to Fletcher and then the big 2-run home run to Brian Goodwin, which made it 5-4. And that was pretty much it. McCullers going only 4 innings. Brandon Belak, which is a guy I think I brought up last week, who stepped in after Josh James only went 3 innings, came in, got 2 innings. He walked 3 hitters, struck out 2. Didn't give up any runs, though, so he was pretty good. Abreu got a third of an inning, allowed a run. Unearned, apparently. Walked 2, struck out a batter. Paredes came in for an inning and 2/3, 2 walks, strikeout. We've walked 7, 9, 11, 12 guys in this game. Andre Scrub got the save. Not the easiest of saves, as he walked a batter, gave up a hit, but did get the save, got through that game. Didn't use our best bullpen guys, but really at this point, who did you have? You have who you have, which are a bunch of no-name guys. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but Davinsky and Biagini dealing with some sort of issue. Obviously, Osuna working his way back, and we're waiting on Ryan Presley. And I'll get to Presley and Osuna here in just a minute as they do pitch in this series. But good to get the win. Not awesome, but offensive wins is sort of going to be the Astros' MO. They're going to have to score a lot of runs to win games, unless these pitchers sort of step up and get better as the season goes along. But this season is nothing like I've experienced from the Astros standpoint in previous years. Usually we can dominate pitching and dominate hitting, or we can win 2-1, 3-1, 4-2 type games. And I just haven't really seen that yet this year. But you roll into Saturday. This was a tough one. We were down the majority of this game, I believe. So we were down the majority of this game, but people like we actually had a comeback in the ninth inning. We were down 3-1. Reddick hit a 1-out, I believe, 2-run home run, or solo home run, and then Garrett Stubbs had a big single with 2 outs when it looked like we were one pitch away from losing, and then Springer gets up, hits a 2-run home run to take the lead. And then it looks, that was a big moment for the Astros, I felt like, to be down 2 in the ninth and to come back and take a 4-3 lead. Of course, Osuna comes in. This is after Presley had already come in. Presley had come in at one point, and he wasn't necessarily good. Here, I got the box score here. Greinke in this game went 5 2/3. He was actually, he had 5 perfect innings. In fact, I think it was 16 up, 16 down. And then he ran into trouble. But he was overall good, getting 5 2/3. He did get tagged with 2 earned runs as he ran into trouble. Blake Taylor came in, who's been phenomenal so far. Another inning in the third, 2 strikeouts. Presley gets in 2/3 of an inning, gives up an earned run, struck out a batter, walked a guy, 2 hits. The thing with Presley is, I didn't know what to expect really. The trainer did come out. Him and Dusty came out to check on Presley for some issue. They were looking at his hand. So usually I think blister, something like that, but it was like on his thumb, but it was on the other side. It wasn't where a blister usually would be. It was sort of on the nail side, and he had sort of a cut there. At least that's what the camera showed. So if that was all it is, that shouldn't be a big issue. And as far as I've heard, Presley will be working his way back, as in he was hurt to start the year. He's healthy now. I don't think the injury, whatever it was on his thumb, is a big issue. But they're still sort of, he's sort of in the Osuna category of ready to pitch, but gradually working his way into game shape. So Presley, but only pitched 2/3 of an inning. Osuna comes in to close it out after the Reddick solo shot, the Springer 2-run home run. And now it's like, here we go. Osuna, your best reliever, the guy you have the most faith in, just get his 3 outs, gets a first pitch ground out, third baseman, they get Pujols out. And then I'm going to build suspense here as I take a drink. Next hitter, whoever it was, Osuna threw a pitch, and he called for the trainers to come out. And there was really no discussion. He pulled himself out of the game, dealing with elbow soreness, placed on the IL, sorry. But that's the thing with Osuna. So Osuna, your closer's now out. Verlander's hurt. Davinsky's out. Biagini's out. And yeah, so you call up more minor league pitchers that have never pitched in the big leagues, like most of our bullpen pitchers as it stands now. So the whole thing was sort of weird. This is so weird, just this season so far, with all these rookies, all these people getting hurt. Part of this has to do with the coronavirus and sort of the summer camp, the spring training 2.0, which seemed very quick. It was only 3 weeks. But these pitchers, a lot of them didn't have the time. They don't, the routine in spring training when it's, a month plus, and you work your way up. And by the time the season starts, all your pitchers are ready to go. Maybe not to their fullest length, but, they're usually up there and they're good. But Greinke, after his first start, which we talked about his endurance not being where it was, did go 5 2/3 in this game. Haven't even gotten to the conclusion, but the Angels tied it because they had to bring in, who did they bring in after Osuna? Snead, who blew the save. Gave up a hit, struck out a guy, but that hit, I believe, was Jason Castro, RBI double, tied the game there. And then we lose it in the 10th as they bring in a guy they called up. Let's see if I can pronounce this first name here. Novaldo Rodriguez, who, this was his first sort of outing, or second outing. I think he pitched a little bit in the Dodger series, but not a guy you really trust at this point. Really, Dusty doesn't have a lot to work with in the bullpen, especially when you have all these injuries. Biagini and Devo both didn't do well in their 1 or 2 outings they had. So, the people I think about pressing Osuna are the 2 guys. It'd be real nice to have Will Harris right now, I will say that, but obviously they don't. And someone's got to step up, so we'll see. Blake Taylor's been a nice surprise. A guy we got in the Jake Marisnick deal to the Mets has a left-hander who's been great. So, he's a guy that they'll lean heavily on, I believe, going forward. But losing Saturday was a tough one. A lot of back and forth, when you don't have the lead, then you have it, then you give it up, and then you lose the game. It's just one of those, I guess, tougher losses to handle. Whatever. We go into Sunday, and Josh James, once again, doesn't go very deep. He's pretty bad as a 4-star. I don't know what we were expecting from Josh James. Like I said, when the season started, very inconsistent. But he's running his pitch count up. He's walking a bunch of hitters. He's getting strikeouts, but he just can't go deep in games. Part of that probably has to do with the whole summer camp. But Josh James, I don't know what to say. I really don't. But interesting here that Dusty Baker, with the day off Thursday, had the day off Monday. Today, day off, Monday. Decided to go with Framber Valdez out of the bullpen. Interesting, worked out. So Josh James, after going only 3 innings, I actually missed a lot of this game because I was at work. But let's see here if I can pull up this box score now. On Sunday. So Josh James goes 3 innings, like I mentioned. He gave up 1 hit, 4 runs, all of them earned, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts. He gave up the grand slam to Albert Pujols. So he scored 2 early runs, I believe. And we were up 2-0 on a bases loaded RBI walk by Dustin Garneau and another bases loaded RBI walk by George Springer. Pujols hit a grand slam. They were up 4-2 for the majority of that game. Redmond gets a run back in the 7th on a home run. And Josh Reddick, who, guy, I am not a huge fan of because he can't hit. And, we already tried trading him. Couldn't do it because no one wants to carry this contract. But he's actually been okay. He had the home run to tie or get closer to. Hit the home run the night before Saturday in the 9th inning. RBI single to tie it here in the 9th on Sunday. So, Reddick's been okay so far. Maldonado's sort of fallen back into his strikeout hole, black hole lineup type. I'm all over the place tonight, but Maldonado's back to what you'd expect with the bat. And then Reddick's been okay, I guess. But, he ties the game there in the 9th. To go back to the pitching, I know everything's just all out of whack. Framber Valdez goes 6 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run, wasn't earned, struck out 8, walked 1. So Valdez's ERA is all the way down to 2.53. Very good. Very good at the bullpen. Very surprising. Because we all know how I feel about Framber Valdez. Josh James, ERA 10.50. Terrible. 6 innings and 2 starts. and hasn't looked very good, neither one of them. But tying the game in the ninth, and then here you go into extra innings again. Once again, Dusty Baker doesn't bunt. They do take the lead in the let's gotta get back to this here. Well, they score one in the 10th, and then the Angels subsequently score in their half, so that's tied 5-5. And then we score again in the 11th. We scored on an RBI hit in the 10th, or I think it was an RBI. Let's see here. So Reddick tied it, and then Garrett Stubbs, it was a sac fly. So they had two sac flies. One was into right center field, which got the runner from second to third with one out, and then Stubbs hits the sac fly to get him home. So to take the lead. But then, of course, I don't know why, but I'm only seeing Michael Hermosillo tied that game at 5 in the bottom half of the 10th. Then Bregman had an RBI single in the 11th, and then we finally were able to close that out. I believe Blake Taylor goes the final inning in the third. He actually walked 2, his first 2 walks of the year, I believe. Struck out 2, but got through it, and we win the finale and take the rubber game to win 2 of 3. So a lot to go over there. Again, injuries galore. Christian Javier will go against the Diamondbacks starting. If you're watching this video, probably tonight, or he's probably already pitched. But he'll get the nod here. And so you're just skipping your 5th starter. That's why Valdez came out of the bullpen with your 2 off days. You're allowed to do that. So we'll see. But, bright spots out of the bullpen. Blake Taylor, obviously. Cy Snead, it's still a sort of wait and see. And Presley, I guess, will be your closer for the time being. But he is still working his way back into baseball shape. But I don't think he's severely hurt to any extent. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. It's been about 27 minutes or so. But yeah, so this week they'll play 3 with the Diamondbacks, I believe. And then they stay out on the road, I believe, to play the Oakland A's. So yes, 6 games. Usually it's a 6-game week. I always say this. 4-2 will be the goal. Astros have all these issues, I feel like, and you sit there and they're 5-4. So it's not like they're terrible. I mean, they're not great, but they're not terrible. In fact, in the power rankings, which is done by ESPN, they had them at 4th, which was an amazement to me. The Yankees, I believe, have the best record. They're like 7-1. Dodgers are pretty good. What you'd expect, I think. But so it's a wait and see thing for with the Astros and see how things play out. And yeah, so anyway, trying to think if there's really any more news to really bring up. Talked about sort of the Marlins. I still don't think they've played a game since they had their big outbreak. Cardinals, of course, have been postponed as they have an outbreak. Not to the Marlins extent, but they have a handful. I don't know if it was 8 guys, 6 guys. I remember reading it as I was walking into work today, but the numbers seem to keep going up. So, but yeah, the Marlins and the Cardinals are the only 2. I know the Phillies had a few other coaching, like the clubhouse attendant or whoever I think had it. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. But the Phillies, Phillies played the Marlins when they had all their guys that had it. And the Phillies, none of their players tested positive, but they haven't been playing games. Like it's just weird. This season, a lot of people don't think it'll go on. We'll wait and see. I guess we'll keep playing until they tell us not to. But baseball right now is just so weird. It's strange. It is baseball. I'm starting to get used to sort of the no fans and piped in crowd noise, like I mentioned, work, cardboard cutouts. As long as you're not staring at them, they sort of blend in as a crowd. So, but we'll wait and see. 6 games this week, like I said, 4-2. You got the Diamondbacks, you got the A's, A's will be a good matchup. I believe they're tied with us in first place at 5-4. The Mariners are actually up there. Quick standings update. Let me actually get this for you. So we are, let's see here. We are in second place. I guess Oakland played today and they won, so they're 6-4. We're 5-4. Texas at 3-5. Seattle at 4-7, and the Angels at 3-7. So, yes, that's where we're at. We'll be ready to go with Arizona. Javier, we'll get the start. Then you'll have McCullers and Greinke. So that's your 1, 2, 3 right now. Hopefully Javier builds off what he was able to do against his Dodgers in his first start. And our bats, two guys. This is what I wanted to bring up. Altuve has been terrible. Springer's been okay, getting better. But Altuve, a guy you really never question because he's always, even when some of your better hitters are not doing well, he's usually getting his. Not right now. We'll see. I fully expect Altuve to bounce out of this any time now. But we'll wait and see. Yeah, Correa's so-so and Bregman's so-so. We're just sort of waiting. And then, Yuli is doing okay, I believe. Brantley's cooled off after his hot start. I mean, we'll get Alvarez back here, and I think they said 10 to 14 days. Urquidy will be shortly after that. But you got injuries galore. Good teams are able to work past their injuries, so that's sort of the situation. Got to grind out some wins, figure out a way to stay afloat until you can get people like Alvarez and Urquidy and Osuna and just your regular people back, I guess. But we'll see how things go. For the Astros can reel off some wins here and sort of get into a nice groove. I mean, they should have no issue making the playoffs now that they're expanded. I believe I talked about that last week. Expanded up to 16 teams. I mean, there'll be teams hovering around or under 500 that make it into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting. I don't think the Astros will have any issue doing that. Obviously, winning the division's the goal, I guess. Although all teams will play the first series, so it really doesn't matter that much. I actually don't like this playoff scenario thing. Like it's too easy now. It's like basketball, and I've complained about basketball for having 16 teams make it, which is more than half the league. Which baseball's basically done the same thing. But the thing with basketball, 16 teams, and you play 7-game series, which is ridiculous. At least baseball, you'll play a 3 or 5, and if you advance to your 2 sevens in the league championship and World Series games. But anyway, so yeah, wanted to wrap things up there. Kind of all over the place tonight. It's late. It's 11:36. I'm tired. I didn't get a ton of sleep last night. Go back to the ballpark tomorrow. We're back doing tours at Minute Maid Park. So feel free to do a tour. Pretty awesome job. Just walking around the ballpark and telling people about things. So doing that. Of course, Whole Foods working almost every day of the week for now. We'll go back to Monday through Friday here shortly because work will start taking a toll on me here if I continue to do it. Of course, tours with the ballpark is only done when the team's out on the road. Got this 9-game road trip, so we're doing tours all last week or the weekend, Thursday through Sunday, and now Monday through, what are we doing all this week? But anyway, so yeah, I'll wrap things up there. If I think of anything else, I'll bring it to you. Last week I did this on Tuesday. This week on Monday. Got caught up with things last night. Didn't have time. But anyway, with the off day, Monday might be the better day. If we do have off days in the future, if not, Sunday night, we'll figure something out. But I'm going to try to stay on time with all these. But again, leave the comments in the comments section below. Like this video. Do all that good stuff on YouTube. Follow me, my channel, at DavidArtist7 on Twitter. Do all that good stuff, and then we'll see you in probably about a week. And we'll recap some more Astros games. So we'll see you then.